What's going on, guys? It's Greg here, aka NYPrepper. It is Wednesday, April 10th, 2024, and I have an emergency alert to share with you guys. Right now it is 14:35 Eastern Time here in the United States, and we have some major breaking news coming in from the Middle East. So there's some unusual activity in Iran today. So we have a new NOTAM posted by the FAA. A NOTAM is a notice to airmen. It's a warning for pilots. Now, 2 days ago, the FAA posted this NOTAM about rocket launches taking place in an area east of Tehran starting today through the 12th. Then they posted another one yesterday about some kind of aerial parade that's going to be taking place around Tehran on the 17th. And then today, there's a new NOTAM suspending navigation visual flight rules in Tehran FIR. Okay, and it starts today and it goes through the 13th, which is Saturday. So visual flight rules are basically just pilots flying by sight, okay? If the weather's clear, they can look out the window and just use their eyes to fly rather than avionics. So they're suspending visual flight rules in the Tehran flight information region through Saturday. Okay, now we've had multiple intelligence sources say that Iran is going to strike Israel after the 12th or on the 12th. They initially said on the 9th after Ramadan. Now they're saying the 12th. And the reason why they're saying the 12th is there's some kind of Muslim holiday. I forget what it's called, but they're saying that that Muslim holiday ends on the 12th, and that's when Iran is going to strike. I want to also mention to you that late last night around 0100 Eastern Time, we had a flurry of emergency action messages. There were probably a dozen emergency action messages or more that were broadcasted in less than an hour. I mean, they were just going back to back for an entire hour. And an emergency action message is a nuclear attack option. These are coded messages that are sent to U.S. nuclear forces, especially the ballistic missile submarines, and they're transmitted by the Boeing E-6B Mercury TACAMO planes. And these messages basically tell the subs what targets to hit if something were to escalate. These are nuclear attack options, okay? And there were like over a dozen broadcasted in an hour. On a normal day when nothing crazy is going on, you may normally hear 10 or 20 emergency action messages in a single 24-hour period. But there were like 10 to 20 in 1 hour last night, and then same thing the night before. And this afternoon, we have U.S. nuclear forces on high alert. We have an E-6 Mercury over the Atlantic, and we have an E-6 Mercury over the Pacific, and they're looping, which means they're either getting ready to transmit emergency action messages to our nuclear armed subs, or they're already doing so. We also have some breaking news coming from Bloomberg. U.S. officials are telling Bloomberg that Iranian strikes against Israel appear imminent, and the attack is going to be either a major missile attack or a drone attack by Iran or its proxies. Okay, they're saying a major missile or drone attack by Iran or its proxies. And I reported the other day that Iran has already told its proxies to simultaneously attack Israel. Okay, Israel has recalled all their fighter pilots. They've recalled all their air defense operators from leave. We also have the German airline Lufthansa temporarily suspending its flights to Tehran. And an Iranian politician said yesterday that if Israel strikes Iran's nuclear facilities, then Iran will strike Israel's Dimona nuclear facility. Dimona is the area where Israel's nuclear weapons were born, the Dimona nuclear research facility in the Negev desert. So this is very concerning. And this is the area in eastern Tehran where the first NOTAM was put out 2 days ago. And that's the one that talks about the rocket launches coming out of this area here in the area bound by these yellow pins. And before I continue with the breaking news, I wanted to mention the sponsor for this update, which is My Patriot Supply. Guys, My Patriot Supply is doing a massive 30% discount on their 1 week emergency food supply. And to get the discount, you got to use the link in the description below this video, which is preparewithnYprepper.com. The normal price for their 1 week freeze-dried emergency food supply is $80. They're knocking it down to $50 for 1 week of emergency food with a 25-year shelf life, and it's all packed into a small lockable ammo can with a waterproof gasket. They also have a general store, and to get to their general store, you just got to click on the My Patriot Supply logo at the top of the page when you get to preparewithnYprepper.com. And their general store has everything you can imagine prepping and survival related, and they're always doing discounts. So check it out. Use the link preparewithnYprepper.com to get over 35% off of the My Patriot Supply 1 week emergency food supply, and also to get access to their general store. And they're always doing discounts there. I'll leave the link in the description below this video. I want to just show you guys our nuclear forces this afternoon. So we have one E-6B flying off the coast of California. We also have a B-1 nuclear bomber flying west of Abilene. Abilene is where Dyess Air Force Base is. It's a major bomber base. It's possible this B-1 is getting ready to go overseas, and it's just doing some practice loops here, making sure that everything works before going to the Middle East as a response to this Iranian attack on Israel. If Iran attacks Israel, which it looks like they're going to do, the U.S. is definitely going to get involved. They're going to have to get involved. Here we have another E-6 off the coast of New Jersey. Look at this, guys. This thing is just doing all these loops here. Okay, when they fly like this, it means they're dropping their trailing wire antenna, and that trailing wire antenna allows them to transmit those nuclear attack options to our submerged ballistic missile submarines. And that trailing wire antenna enables the radio signal to penetrate through the water to the subs. Okay, so our nuclear forces are on high alert. They were on high alert last night. And if anything happens, I will go live as long as necessary to cover this. But it looks like Iran is going to strike Israel basically any hour now, any day now, any night. So I will go live when things kick off. Yesterday, we had 3 presidential doomsday planes in the air and 5 nuclear war command and control planes, the Boeing E-6Bs. Here we have 2 presidential doomsday planes that were flying over Iowa and Illinois yesterday afternoon. We also had this nuke sniffer fly along the West Coast yesterday at the same time as the nuclear war command and control planes, and one of the doomsday planes was airborne. And Israel has been holding drills to prepare for attacks on Iran's nuclear facilities. So this is very, very serious. And last night, when all those emergency action messages were being broadcasted, we had one of the nuclear war command and control planes off the coast of California, but we had a U-2 spy plane fly to South Korea, and then it turned its transponder off close to the DMZ. And then we also had an RC-135 rivet joint patrolling the Taiwan Strait. That's a reconnaissance plane, and it was there for a while. Okay, here's the U-2 spy plane flight path over South Korea, and you can see it turned its transponder off just south of Seoul. So it either landed or it went somewhere. I have no idea. So I'm going to continue to monitor the situation. It looks like we're going to see this strike any day now, and this is going to really escalate things. The tensions are really going to ratchet up. And the top U.S. general in Europe told Congress that Ukraine will run out of artillery shells and air defense interceptors in fairly short order without U.S. support, leaving them vulnerable to a partial or total defeat. If one side can shoot and the other side can't shoot back, the side that can't shoot back loses. So the stakes are very high. General Christopher Cavoli, the commander of European Command, told the House Armed Services Committee today, "We are facing challenging times in the European theater. Russia's brutal, unprovoked war has ravaged Ukraine for over 2 years. Their forces are demolishing cities and destroying innocent lives on a scale not seen since the Second World War." Wow, strong words there from the U.S. General of European Command, saying that there could be a partial or total defeat and that the scale of destruction of this war is something we haven't seen since the Second World War. The German foreign minister is calling for more Patriot missiles for Ukraine and is warning that Russia aims to bomb the city of Kharkiv to the ground. And a lot of European generals are saying the same thing, that Russia is going to turn Kharkiv into a gray zone. Okay, a gray zone meaning it's not going to be inhabitable and that Ukrainian forces are not going to be able to operate out of the Kharkiv Oblast. So, in order to make it a gray zone, they have to shell the crap out of it with artillery or deploy chemical weapons or even drop nukes on it. We've heard Putin say that they have to create a sanitary zone in the Kharkiv region. Okay, so what does the sanitary zone mean exactly? And the leader of NATO, Jens Stoltenberg, said Ukraine simply cannot wait for more air defenses. Delays in delivery of air defenses will allow Russian missiles to hit more targets, and delays in delivery of ammunition will allow Russia to press along the front line, Stoltenberg said. Ukraine simply cannot wait. It needs air defenses, ammunition, and aid now. And the United States has warned that it will hold China responsible if Moscow makes gains in Ukraine after Beijing renewed pledges of cooperation during a visit by Russia's top diplomat. Wow. And Russia has opened a criminal case against the U.S. and NATO officials in connection with the funding of terrorism. The Russian government released a statement saying it has been established that funds received through commercial organizations, in particular the oil and gas company Burisma Holdings operating in Ukraine, have been used in recent years to carry out terrorist attacks in the Russian Federation as well as abroad in order to eliminate prominent political and public figures. And Alexander Lukashenko, the president of Belarus, is going on a working visit to Russia, which is very interesting because just about 2 weeks ago, he visited his troops right on the border with Lithuania, and the Belarusian military is on combat alert right now. And the U.S. Secretary of State has invoked his emergency authority under the Arms Export Control Act to approve a foreign military sale to Ukraine of Hawk missile systems for an estimated cost of $138 million. So I don't know if that means Ukraine is buying those missile defenses, but this is very, very serious, guys. And what you're looking at here is a picture of Greek F-16s participating in a bombing training mission with a U.S. B-1 bomber. This is a U.S. strategic bomber. It is nuclear capable. You can see the B-1 in the center, flanked by 3 F-16s on either side. So this is very, very serious. This could be training for bombing Iran. This could be training for bombing Russia. We just don't know. And we had a lot of reconnaissance activity over Poland and the Baltics last night. I've never seen anything like this before. We had a German Air Force plane flying along the border of the Baltics with Russia and Belarus. Look at this, guys. This is absolutely insane. And at the same time, there was a Swedish reconnaissance plane patrolling northern and eastern Poland. But this is the first time I've seen a German recon plane fly like this around the entire Baltics along the border with Belarus. You can see it got really close to Belarus here. This is the area where Belarus has stationed hundreds of tanks and armored vehicles, most of them Russian supplied. And this is the area where Belarus has dozens of S-400 air defense systems right in Grodno. And this is the Suwalki Gap right here. Okay, so I'm very concerned that we could see all of this kick off at the same time. Iran strikes Israel, causing chaos in the Middle East, forcing the U.S. to respond, potentially attacking Iranian nuclear facilities and carrying out a massive decapitation strike on the Iranian military and the Iranian government. At the same time, Russia and Belarus attack the Baltics, and then potentially a massive offensive in Ukraine. This could all happen at the same time. And then in addition to that, we have Asia, and Asia is the wild card. We could see China attack South Korea, the Philippines, Taiwan, Japan. Yesterday, I shared some pictures that showed these missile systems that China has placed that have put Japan, South Korea, Taiwan, and Philippines within striking distance. Okay. There were also some German planes that flew close to Belarus in Poland last night, and their call signs were Bomber 33 and Bomber 44, which is very interesting. I don't know what kind of planes these were because there's no information about them. As you can see here, it doesn't say what type of plane they were, but they flew right next to Brest, which is a city in southwestern Belarus, right near the tri-border of Belarus, Ukraine, and Poland. And in the city of Brest in Belarus, there's a massive facility where tens of thousands of Russian troops have been moved here. And you can see how close Brest is to Warsaw. It's just 100 miles to Warsaw, guys. Okay, Russian missiles could strike Warsaw from this area. And we had two German planes with the call sign Bomber 33 and Bomber 44 fly all the way to this area and stop. Obviously, they stayed, a good distance away from the Belarus border, but this was obviously some kind of a training exercise potentially, or maybe a real world situation. We just don't know. But it looks like NATO is practicing a bombing run on Brest and that massive facility where tens of thousands of Russian troops are. There's also S-400 batteries here, and there's also some missile systems, probably Iskanders and long-range artillery around here in Brest. So this is a massive target for NATO. If there were a war between Poland and Belarus, NATO would come in and annihilate all these facilities here, all the air defenses, missile systems, troop concentrations would all be annihilated. We also had this U.S. Army Chinook helicopter fly up to Latvia from Poland, which is pretty interesting. Looks like it took off from the Powice Air Base, which is a massive NATO base in west central Poland. That's where the U.S. kept a lot of their F-22s in Poland over the last 2 years. They moved like 6 F-22s to Poland, and apparently they're stationed there. I don't know if they're still there or not. We also had this Italian C-130 fly up to Latvia. That's a military cargo plane. Here we have some pictures of these Chinese missile systems, and you can see here South Korea is within range of these Chinese missile systems. Here we have a bunch of missile systems placed along the Chinese coast near Taiwan. All of Taiwan is within range of all these different missiles. And then here we have the Philippines, and even the Philippines is within range of the missiles here on these reefs, the artificial reefs that China has been building, okay? And then also here we have some missile systems that put Japan within striking distance. So that's the latest breaking news that I have. I will be back later on tonight with another update, or I will go live if something happens with Iran. I'm watching the situation with Iran and Israel very, very closely. So if anything happens, I will go live. So until later on, take care, God bless, and don't forget the 3 Ps: prepare, practice, and persevere. Guys, the world is getting crazier by the day. We're on the verge of World War III. The U.S. is drowning in trillions of dollars in debt. Inflation is at an all-time high, and there's no end in sight. So you need to prepare your finances for the future with precious metals. Precious metals are a great way to protect your hard-earned savings and retirement against inflation and the uncertainty of the stock market. Also, precious metals are good to have for the purposes of preparedness, to be able to barter with people for essential supplies if the grid goes down. Every prepper should have at least a small amount of silver coins. The company I trust for my precious metals is Midas Gold Group. Text NYPrepper to 232425 for free information on precious metals. Midas Gold Group is 100% veteran owned and supports veterans through the Wounded Warrior Project. Midas Gold Group will work with you to convert part of your retirement savings into gold or to set up a gold IRA. And unlike many precious metals dealers, Midas Gold Group offers precious metals in small denominations, which is great for preparedness, so you have something tangible to use for bartering when the grid goes down. Precious metals have continuously risen in price over the past 100 years and are considered a safe investment. So text NYPrepper to 232425 for free information and to get started today.